really hope you like this video. Just subscribe, like, and click the bell to be notified of more content just like this.
I was there, the proof program. Hey, I tell you what, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed watching Everton. Charlie summed it up well. You know, there could have been problems, but that goal just before half time. But I went away and I was talking to a couple of influential people at Everton who said to me, watch this space, we'll have a goalkeeper in by the end of the window. The one he said, well, one of them told me, which I wrote a few weeks ago, so I was hoping it would come off, was Sergio Romero from Manchester United. You know, they definitely went in for him. And for some strange reason, they wouldn't pay the money. They wanted him on loan. You know, well, I'd have paid the money personally, because I think with Jordan Pickford is a liability. You know, he's going to undermine the good work that Carlo Ancelotti is doing, and Ancelotti is saying he's been loyal to him. I don't know whether he will be in the next few weeks. We'll see. But generally speaking, it was a very good display. Yerry Mina, probably the best I've seen him play. You mentioned Seamus Coleman, Charlie. He was absolutely superb. He went off injured. That was going back 5 or 6 years. That was, wasn't it? Yeah, he was. Wasn't it? He was excellent. In fact, it wasn't a poor player. It was a good all-round display against a decent Brighton side, by the way.
No, they're a good team. Do you think they'll finish in the top 10 in the league?
Me? No, sorry. I think no, they won't. They are good to watch, though. I've got to say that they are.
They're 92 to finish in the top 10, 4.5 to 1 to finish in the top 10, and I feel they have a chance of doing that. They don't, you know, obviously they've only got the 3 points so far. I was very impressed with them, as much as you can be in a team who conceded, you know, 4 times. But you know, I do think that Yerry Mina's goal before half time was absolutely pivotal. Yes, they maybe pass the ball, but in Neil Mope they've got somebody who can stick it in the back of the net. I think Basuma, they've got Solly March was very impressive. I felt I think they're a good team. And
sorry, Charlie.
We will be talking about Brighton winning at Crystal Palace.
Rico, when you were talking to your influential people at Everton, are they surprised what's happened? I mean, I think Carlo Ancelotti said, I can't believe we've got, the points we have.
No. I don't think they're surprised, because I think everybody at the club believes in Carlo Ancelotti. They do think he's got a magic wand. And let's be fair, these in the summer are his signings. They're not Marcel Brand's signings. I mean, if you look at Marcel Brand's record of recruitment, it is not very good. You know, he's lauded as this and that. I mean, don't get me on recruitment, because you go through the Premier League, the recruitment is awful, abysmal. So much money is wasted. Carlo Ancelotti has gone for players that he knows that he can rely on. I mean, James Rodriguez wouldn't be playing for any other Premier League club. He's come to Everton for Carlo Ancelotti. He feels wanted, and that's why he's playing so well. He feels at home at Everton. He doesn't like the rough stuff. You know, at Brighton, they did put the boot in a few times, and he didn't like it, but he's got to learn to live with that. Richardson got the treatment as well, and went off. But let's be fair, this is Carlo Ancelotti's team, and I think he's going to surprise, well, won't surprise me, but he might surprise a few other people. Might surprise Charlie.
It might surprise Charlie. Listen, I've got to say, we'll talk about internationals and what have you going forward, but we'd be amiss if we didn't talk about Aston Villa hammering Liverpool. But then again, I'm sorry, but this has been, everybody, Liverpool, this has been coming. Charlie, what was your take on apart from dancing around the room, what was your take on the game?
I thought that whole Grealish and Barkley is so exciting, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes.
So when you see Harry Winks, controlling the midfield for England last night, I can't take him seriously. And you see the ability that this guy's got. Ross Barkley really is a real footballer waiting to get out. He needs somebody to put his arm around his shoulder. I honestly think, that if you're talking about wasting money, I really do think that is one of the signings of the season. And I do think Aston Villa, you've got I didn't know enough about Ollie Watkins, I must say. I thought that second goal was sensational to get a proper hat-trick as well, left foot, right foot, and header. He looks at, and he hit the bar as well. It was what's happened to Joe Gomez?
What's happened to Joe Gomez? I love Joe Gomez. What has happened to Joe Gomez? The text, that was the one thing, you've nailed it. The one text was going, everybody texting me, obviously laughing, but going, what has happened to Joe Gomez?
It's unbelievable. John, I'd be interested in your take. Even when Fabinho died, it was as if, I mean, Sadio Mane is a massive loss, and we can't say Thiago Alcantara is a loss because, of course, he's only played 40 minutes and he conceded a penalty in that time, but he's going to be, But there were a few of them. I mean, you take Salah out of the team, even the great man at the back. He was waltzed around as if he needed a Van Dijk cigar. The whole thing was where was Trent Alexander-Arnold marauding? He was pushed back by Jack Grealish all time and time again. Grealish was with whether it's an aberration, we'll find out over the next year with the Champions League and to Goodison. But it was bizarre. But on the back of Manchester, what happened at Manchester United, the whole world went mad, didn't it, for a day?
It did. Rico?
I thought Liverpool were lucky to get away with 7-2.
I think you're absolutely spot on.
I mean, if that game would have gone on, there'd have been more goals. And Charlie's mentioned it. I mean, Ollie Watkins, I've seen a bit of him at Brentford, and, he came up from Exeter, just so pleased with him. I think he's very similar to Calvert-Lewin. I think both of them, are energised. They can score goals. They're good link-up men. I think both of them have got fantastic futures. I'm a Ross Barkley fan. Don't know what happened to him at Chelsea. I think, as Charlie said, he's found love at Villa and he will prosper. Jack Grealish, I'm just a huge Jack Grealish fan. I mean, we'll talk about England probably soon. He ran the show for England. And at times, he's just so unplayable. And he is. I know people have a go at me for this. He's the closest I have seen to Paul Gascoigne. He can glide past plays. He hasn't got terrific pace. Gazza didn't have terrific pace, but he could glide past players, take them out. He knows how to pass. He can score goals. He's just fantastic to watch. Back to Liverpool, we'll soon see if this is a freak result. I'd be worried if I was Jurgen Klopp, because obviously there was a mental attitude amongst those players. Maybe they thought they can just go out now and would beat anybody with the champions of England. Alex Ferguson always used to say, I've got to look into the eyes of the players to see if they're still hungry. Well, maybe Jurgen Klopp should do that this week when they come back. Are you still hungry? You're there to be knocked down now. You're the champions. People are going to come after you every week. You've got to live with that. Manchester United have lived with it. Arsenal lived with it in the past. Chelsea have lived with it. Now you have got to live with it, Liverpool. And it's going to be very interesting. I mean, this derby game, I can't wait to see it. I mean, it's all up there, isn't it? Is it the fading champions against the pretenders? We'll see.
I wonder if there's you read the posh papers and you read the posh views and what have you. Liverpool's style, the football's. I read an article 2 weeks ago. Football's changed. It's totally changed. And this press, the massive press you have, the incredible high line that Liverpool, perhaps more than anybody else, have with the pace of Van Dijk, the pace of Gomez. But if your midfield's not pressing, which they did against Villa, you're knackered because the ball over the top, does it? Is it something Jurgen Klopp has to sit down? Is it that big and goes, maybe this doesn't work? Because it certainly didn't work against Aston Villa.
Charlie?
It has worked not only for a season. Of course, they were the champions. The Champions League winners 2 seasons ago. So,
and he also Klopp says, I don't mind giving a goal. I almost don't mind giving a goal away because of this. Exactly. The way we play, we'll create more chances, which is a wonderful attitude you love. I just, it just broke down, didn't it? That's because the midfielders weren't anywhere. It broke down. The defenders were just literally chasing back the whole game. Yeah,
and there were individual errors. Let's get it right. 3 of the shots were deflected. Adrian conceded, gave the ball away in the first. So let's not, I don't think, get carried away. Honestly, it was one of those things that happens. I think that was more of a freak result, I'm afraid to say, that what happened at Old Trafford. But Liverpool could, Adrian is no Alisson. He's a very ordinary goalkeeper. They had 3 shots to win in, but as John said, if there had been a 10th goal in the game, it was much more likely to go to one of 11 players on the pitch. That is any Aston Villa player or Mo Salah, because the rest of them weren't going to score.
I tweeted, I think, which I do very infrequently, and tweeted you both in, whatever the word is, and said, how many goals will be given away by people trying to play out from the back? And I got absolutely battered.
Yeah.
You're dinosaur, blah, blah. And I literally, as I did it, the Leeds goalie gave the ball away to Kevin De Bruyne, and there was twice, and then there was eventually a goal from it. Adrian is messing around. I mean, he said Jurgen Klopp, and this guy said Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola. What you talking rubbish about? And you saw Jurgen Klopp going to Adrian. Why don't you just boot the ball? I just thought, where does? I mean, we've talked about this more than anything else, but where does it end? At what point you're giving goals away left, right? Crucial goals. You go, just boot the blooming thing.
Rob, you're stolen my thunder. I was going to say the reason we've got so many goals because clubs are trying to play out from the back, and they can't do it. You just throw things at the telly, don't you? Watching it.
Yeah, good man, Adrian. I'm going. What are you doing?
Just boot the thing 50 yards. Up the field. As I say, I keep on going on about it's this snobbery about, we play out from the back. We just lost 7-2, but we play out from the back. We're superb. Look at us. It does my head in. People cannot defend. They're not good enough. Just boot the ball occasionally. You can mix it up. It's not all this. I was watching England for the last 10 minutes last night, and they were near the end. Hey, don't get me wrong, they played very well. But they started all this Nancy-pantsy passing. It was doing my head in. It's boring. It doesn't get you anywhere.
At the same time, which was an astonishing result, we just dwell on last week's. Charlie, I get the feel you thought Manchester United's was more terminal, as opposed to, if you say Liverpool was an aberration. Manchester United, you definitely saw coming. They were so poor, weren't they?
They were, weren't they? And they how many men should they have had at the end of the game as well? However, Bailly wasn't sent off. There was a third. I thought at one stage, blimey, this is if the referee had been consistent.
Luke Shaw booting the fellow as well, wasn't it?
Exactly. At the same time, if you're a Manchester United fan, you wonder why Eric Lamela wasn't sent off, and I don't know if retrospectively it can, because of course he was.
Why wasn't he? I mean, you've got VAR. They're looking. I mean, that to me, you just go, guys, what are you looking at? We're looking at it. If he's sent off, he has to be sent off. He has to go.
It's the worst incident this season.
Yes,
absolutely abysmal. And if I was Lamela, I wouldn't be able to show my face again. Absolutely pathetic. And there should be retrospective punishment, although there can't be. It was.
Rick, why is he? If you're going to send Martial off, you have. I mean, maybe you should have said, "Look, lads, grow up, get on with it. Lamela, get off the floor." But at the same time, what are they seeing that we're not seeing? Or are they? I mean, it just drives you mad.
The best thing to have done there, I wouldn't have sent either of them off. I'd have booked Martial and I'd have laughed at Lamela for him to come up and show him the yellow card and just laugh at him, and get him up, oh, you're all right, you're okay, oh.
I don't know, Charlie. I mean, VAR's. I just didn't get that one. I didn't. Anyway, Manchester United in general, they were just signing Jadon Sancho. They were signing. They've got Edison Cavani. Rico, just briefly, Rico, on the Manchester United signing situation. They get Woodward gets absolutely pelted. Is it a mess?
Well, no. They spent £1 billion since Alex Ferguson left. I mean, is that not enough money to spend? It's back to the wrong recruitment again. I mean, they've had a let-off with Jadon Sancho. I mean, as I keep on banging up, 100 million for him. Oh, sorry, no. Edison Cavani, yes, a superb player. Is he still a good player? We'll find out. I mean, that could be a Falcao, or it could be Abramovich. You know, it'd be either or. United fans will be hoping it's a success. He's certainly got the pedigree, but United's signings, I mean, it's just scattergun, isn't it? Scattergun, and it's not working.
Did you say Abramovich is going to play up front? Or he was coming, or Ibrahimovic? Which one did you
sorry.
say?
Hey, I'm not drinking.
Abramovich signing for Man United. That'd be interesting. Charlie, if you were a Manchester United fan, should you be worried?
Yeah, of course you should. You know, Alex Telles may be a very good left back, but you know, you're telling me that was the sum total of the window. They could go around and say, well, of course we had Bruno Fernandes in January. None of our competitors really added to their starting 11, which we added a world-class player. But even he, I think, is getting sort of disillusioned. You know, I thought Brandon Williams this time last year was emerging. Now, where does it put him? Where does Brandon Williams go? I thought he could. I'd like to have seen Brandon Williams given an opportunity in the centre of defence, but you got the impression Solskjaer always wanted to team up Eric Bailly. Harry Maguire, let's get it right, for one reason or another, is not the same player. You know, it was. We don't know, of course. You know, he's sort of Manchester United captain, and what went on in the summer with him. I'm sure it was an extraordinary ordeal, and whatever the rights and wrongs of it. But he's not the same player. He's just not. You know, when he never played Wan-Bissaka in the first game, and the whole thing's just been, I don't know what his midfield three is. Does he just, flick a ball for Pogba, who's obviously, for some reason, when he first came out of lockdown, he looked as, a world beater again, which he is. And of course, then towards the end of the season, he was hopeless and he started even worse this season. But no, Manchester, there is something rotten in the state of Denmark there. There's not, John spoke about Anthony Martial and not smiling. Well, of course, he won't be smiling now for 3 games because, of course, he'll miss them with his red card as well. So that means, the new signings. And we, how old is this? How old is Edison Cavani?
33, I think.
Yeah, well, there's people think that 33 is quite flexible. Everyone knows that, in Cavani years, I'm 39. There are people who suggest that is a Hollywood 33. I just do think that this is so disappointing. If you're a Manchester United, that is not the window they wanted. And it looks as if Manchester City have arrested Liverpool quietly, slowly, bang, bang, in 48 hours. They produced, they got an excellent replacement maybe for one of the front three, and they got a world-class player in. Obviously, we now think that, maybe, Matip is they will have to go to Matip or look to Firmino, you would imagine, against Everton in the centre of defence. And they will want Thiago Alcantara to maybe replace Firmino or Jordan Henderson. Where does that his fitness? But it's Manchester United who are the ones for me. And so, if I were a United fan, I would just be disillusioned. I think that we, having come back and looked, really good in 3 or 4 months, it's just gone. If not Pete Tong, it's certainly disappointing.
Rico, I saw Harry Redknapp say that Spurs could win the league. Once again, I actually said I think there's a team in Spurs. What's your take? I mean, it was in a way it was more Manchester United are poor, nothing to do with Spurs are pretty good. Are we seeing a team that could actually challenge at the very top?
Well, the way Liverpool and Man City are going, maybe, but I would have thought so. Normally, on their day, they will score bags of goals. They look good. Other days, they struggle. I mean, Gareth Bale is a superb signing. But Charlie mentioned it the other week, and I agree with him. What's the best midfield? There's 6 or 7 players that they seem to shuffle around. It's like a pack of cards. Let's see. They've got to get a settled side. And also, is Jose Mourinho of 5 or 6 years ago? or is Jose Mourinho of Manchester United, you know, who underachieved? It's going to be interesting. Yeah, the potential is there, Rob, but if I was a betting man, no, not for me.
Rico, listen. They always say don't ask a question you don't know the answer to. I don't know the answer to this. I was listening to Mick McCarthy. I mean, I was flicking between the international games, and obviously the Republic of Ireland, unfortunately, have missed out on the Euros. And you know they'll have games in Ireland as well. It's a big blow. Did Mick stand to make 750 grand if the Republic of Ireland had gone through? I'm sure I read this a while ago. You know how he left in the summer. He was going to take them through to the end of the qualification period, but didn't. I don't know. I don't know.
I'll pass on that, Rob. I honestly don't know. I'll hand it on to our betting man, Charlie.
Do you hear that, Charlie? I'm sure because because of COVID, Mick was due to take them through to the end of the qualification period, but didn't, and he sort of stepped down with a view. I think part of his maybe I'm dreaming this. I really don't know.
Well, I've no idea. But of course, that is hardly it's not a betting matter. It's of course it's a legal and contractual sort of whatever the FAA.
I just saw commentating last night, desperate to go through. You know what I mean?
Jesus, in that case, he kept his.
Did it come out in his voice? Did it come out in a penalty shootout? Did you hear it go off?
I was just thinking, he'd have thrown himself off the balcony, wouldn't he? If he was commentating, exactly. It was 750 grand on a penalty shootout. Anyway, I don't know. Listen, Conor Cody's interview last night was
brilliant.
Scotland on penalties was absolutely fantastic. Northern Ireland, shame the Republic. Why can't I get mega excited about international football? Is it just me?
Well,
no, it's not. You ask any football supporter, punter, and the Premier League is the king. When we get to the finals next summer, I think that is the time. Yeah. I do think we all think. I wrote this week that I there are an awful lot of people who thought the England versus Wales game was meaningless. I'm sure Conor Cody's not one of them. I'm sure Dominic Calvert-Lewin's not one. I'm sure Reece James is. But I thought it was. And I'm sorry. If I were, a manager of, say, Jurgen Klopp trying to prepare his team, Carlo Ancelotti, his team, and instead of cramming 2 games in the international break, they've now got 3. Okay, not everyone will play those, those 3 games and things like that, but it was hard to get excited about that. And if you're Ryan Giggs, he had half his team out, and Gareth Southgate had half a team, and everyone said, "Oh, it's nice to see him." Honestly, guys, he can only take 20 odd to, and has that given him more, headaches? I don't know. It is nobody, I think, will get excited by that. Yes, the Northern Ireland and Scotland games were far more. I'm sure there were a lot of people more interested. I was in with the 2 of the games I was watching, and also the darts. I've got to be honest. I was watching that last night. I was, I wanted to watch Devin Peterson versus MVG, and I make no apologies for that. I'm a massive darts fan, but I don't think it until you get to the finals. I think the Nations League has. I wanted to. Again, the Belgium, Roberto Martinez played a Mickey Mouse team again. Not a Mickey Mouse team. He played his reserves against the Ivory Coast last night. His first team will play at Wembley on Sunday night.
Rick, I know you're a massive fan of international football. Can you get me and Charlie enthused? I literally, I mean, even Israel, Scotland. I really wanted Scotland to go through. I really wanted North. We won. I was like, oh gosh, it was. The darts or anything. I don't know what MasterChef was on the other side. I was really struggling to go, wow, this is good.
Look, I agree to an extent, but I can only go by TV ratings. And now I agree with Charlie. What in the finals are a different kettle of fish.
This is interesting. You mentioned this last week. This is interesting.
Well, I can tell you now, the TV ratings for England games in tournaments are huge, absolutely huge. And we sell more newspapers, if England are playing in the summer. But this Sunday, we will sell less because there's no Premier League football. So during the season, friendlies, no, I can't get too excited, although it does have a purpose. But we've got to have international football. You know, it is there. You can't just turn up every 2 years and play games. You know,
why not? Why not?
You could try it, but
away to Macedonia, around like that. Oh,
I don't think it'll work. So, I mean, Charlie alluded to it. Look at Connor Cody's face last night.
I agree. Listen, I'm all over.
I mean, go and tell him that it didn't matter. It was fantastic. His interview afterwards, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's interview. By the way, what a great lad he is. You know, he comes over very well. That it meant something. It meant something to Jack Grealish. But I know what you're saying. It does disturb the Premier League season. We just go in and, you know, I'm at Crewe and Wigan on for my sins tomorrow. You know, there's no Premier League football, no Championship football. But you know that is life.
Listen, thanks. Great chatting. Just Rico, give us what's happening with Bruce. What's the latest?
The boss.
Yeah.
2 weeks today, his new album comes out, and it's absolutely brilliant. I've heard 2 tracks already, and it's unusual because he's got the E Street Band together, obviously in the studio, and it's a one-off. There's no overdubbing. It's just the first play. That is it on the album. It sounds fantastic. Google Ghosts.
Okay.
5 minutes 30 seconds of absolute brilliance.
Brilliant. I look forward. I'll do that straight away. Charlie, anything? What are you up to? What's happening this weekend? What are you up to?
I'll be watching horse racing aplenty. That's for sure. Some terrific racing. Cesaro.
Have you got for us, by the way? You know, have you got anything?
Yeah, I'm backing a horse called Great White Shark, which I'm sure is named after Greg Norman.
Greg Norman.
Yeah.
Where does that go?
At Newmarket in, I think, the 335.
Does it eat everybody else?
Hey!
6. I think there's 6 places, or maybe even 7 places in some firms, but it's around about 9. One thing John said there about Googling, I Googled, and one thing I hope you can tell this is the sort of skeptical Evertonian in me, but I Googled Alan to try and find out if there's any latest about his injury, and it came through Alan, abductor injury, Napoli, 2016, and I went, oh, that's
what you're saying. They're saying reoccurrence, are they?
I'm putting one and one together and said that I googled Alan just to see what's the latest on him, and there was no, the silence was deafening. As the silence is deafening behind, why did Everton sign Ben Godfrey? I'm not convinced that Mason Holgate's injury is anything good, serious, I'm afraid. But Alan had an abductor injury, which is exactly what they're describing. And so we now know it's a reoccurrence, and that's just slightly concerning for me. But
do you know what? Oh, do you know? Look, we bigged Everton up. We tried to get a smile out, and he's just at the end of the show killed us.
Well, he's just killed me as well, because I've done 750 words on Alan for the weekend.
Hey, listen, fellas, thanks a lot. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.
Cheers.
See you guys. Have a lovely weekend.
Cheers.
See you guys.
Bye.